What's up, guys? E-Drone here. Welcome in to episode 14 of Send It Saturday. Guys, we have a great stream going on tonight. Thank you so much for coming in. Tommy G, Razman FPV. Let's see who else is in the chat. Eric Boff, what's going on? Nick Holt FPV. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. We have got Kelly from Ready Set Drone backstage. We're getting ready to bring him out here in just a second. I just want to let you guys know it's a great thing that he's able to be on the stream tonight. I'm so happy to have him. And we're going to do a Q&A at the end of the stream, so you guys can, if you have any questions for Kelly, feel free to put them down in the chat. And we're going to just be talking and hanging out and doing some drone news segment. So without further ado, welcome in, everybody. Kelly from Ready Set Drone.
What's up, Eric? How you doing, man?
I am doing great, Kelly. So glad that you're here today. Let me get your banner up here. I made one especially for you.
Banner. Yes. I love it, man. You're all fancy with the StreamYard. Looks good.
Thank you. Thank you. It's something I wanted to kind of nitpick and just kind of learn along the way, and everybody in chat that's been in the show has kind of been along for the ride.
Man, StreamYard, I have to say there's so much you can do with it for a free program, right? I mean, it's totally free, right?
Well, I have the paid version, but yes, you can utilize the free version. You just get a little bit more flexibility with the paid version, a little bit extra customizable features you can do.
You ever played with? Have you ever played with any streaming hardware like the ATEM Mini or any of those little switcher streaming boxes?
I have not actually.
So ATEM, it's made by this company called Blackmagic, which makes a lot of video processing gear. The ATEM Mini is the one, I have it and I've been using it more and more, but they just came out with the ATEM Mini. It's like the Mini Elite or something like that. It's got 8 channels, like 8 inputs, all HDMI. And the cool thing about it is it has what's called super source. So it'll automatically throw up every source you have in it into rows. You don't have to program any of that. Looks really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been dabbling with the original ATEM, but anyway, we're here to talk about drones, not switchers. Although it does seem like live streaming and drones are kind of go hand in hand these days.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's just so much to talk about, right? I mean, drones have definitely changed a lot of people's lives. I actually just got back about 20 minutes ago from a meetup with some FPV buddies of mine.
Nice.
We went and had an awesome time. We went out, we flew FPV. We were able to get some nice shots through some golf courses and some really cool places down to the beach area. And because the weather is so cold, there wasn't a lot of people there, which makes it even better.
Yeah, and you're in Delaware, right?
Yeah, we actually went down to Maryland where we flew.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever been to Delaware. I've been up in the Northeast a little bit. I've been to Massachusetts a couple times, and DC, Virginia, I guess Maryland, of course. But Delaware is like right up there. I guess Maine is the farthest north, right?
Yeah.
How far down is Delaware from that? How many states?
So it's probably about like 2 or 3 states.
Rhode Island is above you?
Yeah. Delaware is actually like right below like New York, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Actually, it's kind of off to the east of
over on the coast.
Southeast, yeah, on the coast, exactly.
Cool.
That's what a lot of people say. They say Delaware. Where is Delaware?
There used to be this song. What did Delaware, boys? What did Delaware? She wore a brand new jersey. She wore a brand new jersey.
Oh, I've been raised in Delaware my whole life, and I've never heard that.
You should Google it sometime.
I will now.
What did Delaware? But yeah, man, I'd love to come up there. I imagine the summer's really the time to be out up there, and flying.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The cold is brutal on our LiPo batteries this time of year.
As is the heat in Texas. You get into Texas in July, August. It really will. I mean, not just the LiPos, the people too. I mean, it just zaps you.
Absolutely. I want to say in the chat here, we got a couple more people hopped on in. Welcome in Steve Bunyan, Nick Holt FPV, TDR Drones Brian, and I believe that's it for now. Thank you guys for stopping in and hanging out with us.
Night Train FPV too.
And Night Train FPV. Thank you.
Yeah, no, good crew. I recognize a few folks but not everybody. So thank you guys for having me on tonight. You said you wanted to talk about FPV, and I have to say that, man, it's kind of this thing that I wake up thinking about and I go to bed thinking about. It's just so immersive, and it's such a dopamine rush when you do something cool in FPV.
And I want to welcome in Savannah's Adventures. Hey, sweetheart. That would be my girlfriend Rebecca. Hello.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she come in to visit us. I will say with FPV, because look, I want to talk about you when you get started, but I want to say right off the bat, it is a very immersive, and it can be an all engulfing hobby.
Yes.
It can take over your basement really quickly.
At least part of your house is dedicated to it. Yeah, I don't have. It's really funny because my son, when he was younger, he was really into Nerf, the Nerf blaster dart gun things. And
oh yeah.
In the garage, we built him a Nerf wall, and it was just like, it was, I think it was 8 foot by 8 foot, 8 foot tall by 8 foot wide. And it was that, the pegboard. It was all pegboard.
Yes, that's what that is.
Yeah, and he could hang all of his Nerf guns up there, and it looked so awesome. I mean, I remember he would take his friends back there, and he probably had 20 Nerf guns at the time, and then he had accessories hanging up and LED lights on it and all that stuff. I need to do something like that for my drones now, because right now most of my drones are like stashed in bins. Those storage bins. Like I use those for my T-shirts, for my drones, oh man, we have so many storage bins out in the garage.
I did that for the longest time. Now I've got like drone backpacks. I've got them mounted on the wall, and that's all I did, Kelly. I just took pegboard from the hardware store, and it was already the white color. And all I did was get some of these plug-in 120 volt LED lights off of Amazon.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
They're really not that expensive, and they have all kinds of different colors. You can change the colors. They can flash and do all kinds of things.
Oh yeah. No.
Clement FPV with a super chat. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that.
Sweet. Thanks, Clement.
You know what time it is when we get a super chat in here. We got to get out the dancing Carlton. And of course, the raining the money down. Thank you so much for your support, brother. Greatly appreciate it.
The sound effect. Don't tell me what that was. I know that was a video game. I'm trying to think of what game that is. Play it again. Will you play the? Will you give me a hint?
It is actually a slot machine sound effect.
Oh, a slot machine. Okay, I was like,
yep.
I've heard that. My grandmother is 95 years old. She lives in Kansas City, and she hasn't been recently, but for the longest time, every time I went to visit her, she took me to the casino, which is right on the river between Kansas and Missouri, and that's where I've heard that sound.
Yes, I actually downloaded this app on my phone. It's a sound board app, and it's got like hundreds of different sounds.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, it works out perfect, and it has everything you could possibly ever want as far as sounds go.
I was imagining like Sonic the Hedgehog or Nintendo or something. I was like, what does that sound from?
It does have that kind of retro 80s sound to it, doesn't it?
For sure.
Welcome in Nick Holt FPV, Lone Star UAV, RC Crazy, Eric, how you doing, brother? And Boogie FPV.
Oh, hey. Lone Star UAV is you were talking about meetups. He's the guy that I do a lot of meetups with. So he's based in New Braunfels, where I was talking about, and there's a really big sports complex down there that's right below the dam of a lake, so it's kind of protected from the wind. And I hate to say, a little bit of a benefit from COVID is not a lot of sports teams are playing out there right now, so it's a great place to go fly. We were actually supposed to do a meetup there today, right? Today's the 20th. Yes. We were going to do a meetup, and then I was going to come be on your show, but I'm still in Colorado, and it's still, I think today's the first day in Austin where things are back to normal, kind of like I say Austin, Texas, right? Temperatures are above freezing, and you live in Delaware, so I'm sure you guys are just laughing your asses off about us down here, like a little cold weather, what? But we don't have the infrastructure for it. We don't have the plow trucks. We don't have the backup generators. All the stuff you guys take for granted, we just don't have. And so when it happens, it's like, it'd be like if you guys had a month of 100-degree temperatures, you wouldn't know what to do with that, right?
You guys definitely were not prepared for it at all. I've seen all kinds of crazy viral videos on the internet. People scraping their cars off with spatulas. I mean, whatever you can find to get
Yeah,
the job
we don't
done.
even have snow scraper thingies. I mean, that's like an unusual thing to find in Texas.
I know. I mean, who would have thought that you guys would have even gotten snow? I mean, it just one of them
And a
random
lot of it.
things.
But like I said, I've been in Colorado and it's been snowing like crazy up here. It's snowing right now. I just went to get some food right before I hopped on, and the snow's coming down.
It snowed a little bit today. It's been off and on this past week. We have warmer weather coming. We're forecasted to be near 50 next week. I'm going to take that. Go with that. Thank goodness. I like the snow as far as maybe just getting a couple filming shots, and then I'm like, see you later. Let's get back to the warm weather.
Well, and one thing I do regret about having not been in town, because I've been gone from Austin. I'll be gone almost 2 weeks, and again, that wasn't supposed to be the case. It's because of these canceled flights that kept coming up. But the snow in Texas, I really wish I could have got out with a Mavic Mini or a Mavic Air 2 or something and filmed a little bit of it, because a lot of people did. But I feel like that would have been a really cool thing to have on my channel. But
It's beautiful, Kelly, with the contrast of the trees.
yeah.
And I took the Mavic Air 2 out for a quick flight in the snow, and let me tell you, it handled perfectly. I was really kind of shocked. It stayed locked right in, and it was basically when the drone came back, I figured it was going to be all wet and covered in snow, and it was basically dry. The,
You
the
know,
propellers must have just, kept the moisture off of the body itself, and when it came back to me, the drone was basically dry.
Sean with Sean Oz did a video about flying in snow, and something that he kind of proved, he showed was, if you are moving forward with the drone, you don't really get a lot of moisture accumulation on it. It does create sort of maybe just a little bit of a cushion of air that pushes the snow away.
Uh-huh.
But when you sit and hover, that's when you start to get more of a, and of course, if you land in the snow and just sit there, you're going to get a lot of snow on it. But yeah, he actually, it's a pretty funny video because he had his Mavic Mini and he took a shovel, like a snow shovel, and was just like drenching it in snow to see if it would stay in there, and it did. I mean,
That's awesome.
you gotta give the Mavic Mini and the Mavic Air 2 a lot of credit for just being little, just little Wolverines,
Oh yeah. I
Tasmanian
actually
devils.
came from the Mavic Air, and before that I had a Phantom 3 standard. So that's kind of when I first hopped on DJI and got into the standard 3, I was hook, line, and sink. I was, as far as camera drones were concerned, I was on the DJI bandwagon, so to speak. And yeah, the Mavic Air, the Mavic Air 2, they've been really solid drones for me. Speaking of drones, Kelly, I'd like to talk to you right now about, I mean, because I look at your channel, I look at, how far you've come and what a great community that you've put together.
Thank you.
How did all this get started?
Yeah, I can tell you very, very clearly. It's a story I haven't told very many times, but it is interesting, I think. So I have a video production company in Austin, based in Austin, called Sparksite, and we do mostly corporate videos, but a few other things. Occasionally, we'll do some things for consumer products and stuff like that. We got hired to do a video for a man who owned 50 acres of land on Lake Travis. So Lake Travis is the big lake, near Austin, and it's pretty high dollar real estate. And he wanted something to help sell this land. He basically was parceling it into 5 sections, so 10 acres each, and going to sell it. I happen to be friends with his daughter from, like, we grew up in Houston together, and so that's how I got the gig. And I told him, it was funny because we agreed on a price, and I said, instead of that price, if you want to just pay me 1% of the sale, I'll take that.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so this was 2012 maybe, and I looked into and found a guy in Austin who was doing drone stuff, and hired him to come out. His name is Justin Edwards. He has a website called Drone Above, and he was the OG of drone stuff back then. He was building his own drones. He had a flame wheel, I think, or with a Sony mounted on it, and he had a gimbal mounted on it, and he had some of the original Fat Sharks. He had like Dominator 1 Fat Shark goggles, and he came out. It was a hexacopter, actually. So is a flame wheel eight blades or 6? You know.
I've never even heard of that. So this
Oh,
must be before my time in
the
the
flame wheel
drones.
was one of the original DJI frames.
Oh, wow.
And anyway, he had built it himself, and he came out and shot some footage, and he had a little Sony Alpha camera mounted to it, and you couldn't see a live view of the camera. He had a separate FPV camera, and it was analog. It wasn't that great, but I was just like blown away by this thing, and I was really blown away by the footage that he shot. And so we ended up incorporating that footage into our video that we made for this guy selling his property. And I became friends with Justin. He now lives in Maui. He's a day trader, and so he can live wherever he wants. So he lives in Maui. And again, his website is Drone Above. And he told me that he had started doing like affiliate links for hobby stuff, like drones and helicopters and stuff like that. And he said, yeah, I'm making a couple $100 a month off of it, you know, just posting some videos every so often. And I was like, whoa, ding, ding, ding. So I decided to make my first video in 2014. And that was about the are you familiar with Estes? You remember the rockets, Estes rockets? Like the
I think so.
model
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
ESTES. So it's the model rockets, and Estes made a little tiny $30 line of sight micro drone that you plugged in and charged. I got one of those, and I was like, and I had never seen a drone that small before. I was just blown away by it. This is actually all before the original Phantom 1 came out, by the way.
Wow.
And so I got that little drone, made a video about it, and you know, had a couple of hundred views on the first day. And I had I kind of a domain name hoarder. I have several hundred domain names that I've purchased because I think they'll be worth something. And Ready Set Drone was one I had bought a while back, so I decided to make that the channel name and made this little Estes. It's still on my channel. If you sort by date, you can see it. It's a very crappy video, but it was my first little review of this thing, and it did pretty well, like better than I expected. And then I think I got a SEMA X5C, and that was really cool. And then I got a Phantom 1, and then I ended up getting the 3DR Solo. And, you know, I just kept getting these drones in the hopes that at some point they would start to pay for themselves. And I think it was around the time of the 3DR Solo that I started getting enough views that I could monetize. And then I monetized, and then I started getting offers for, you know, hey, can we send you these toy drones? And I took everything back then. I was like, yes, please send it to me. You know, which I can't do that anymore because there's some of the stuff is really irrelevant and dumb, and some of it, you know, just don't have time for. But yeah, and then it just kind of grew. And you know what's really kind of funny about it, Eric, is actually I've kind of slowed down. My growth has slowed down in 2020 and 2021. I think I kind of peaked in 2019, but I'm happy with it. You know, it's not my main gig; it's my side hustle. I make enough money to buy any drone accessories that I want, you know, and I get sent a lot of free stuff, and that was always the goal. So that's it.
That's so, I mean, I just think that's so ironic that, you know, it sounds like your beginning was kind of just like mine in the aspect of we both got into the drone hobby through just little cheap toy drones that were just line of sight little flyers. And when I got my first toy drone, it was a
was it a Hubsan?
It was not a Hubsan. It was actually a Sharper Image
Oh.
DX3 from Walmart for
Wow.
a Black Friday special of like $30.
Nice.
And I flew it out in the backyard, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Like, this is really fun. How do I get better? And how do I get, you know, how do I just progress? And then I went to the Hubsan, and then eventually the DJI. And then once I got into the camera drones, I'll tell you, I really do enjoy them. But I was hungry for more. I said, there has to be more. So I was asked to go to a drone race in Dover, Delaware, which is actually the capital of our state, by the way.
I knew that.
And they actually have the Monster Mile there at Dover Downs. They do like the NASCAR races.
Sorry, I'm just replying to the chat.
Oh, no problem. You ever heard of the Monster Mile, the NASCAR races they have in Dover, Delaware at all?
I have not. I have not. But at one point I had to memorize all the states and capitals. That's how I knew.
Well, cool. I went to this FPV drone race, and it was all over. Once I saw those things flying around the track at insane speeds, pilots with these goggles on and the controllers, and I'm just like, oh my God, what is this and how do I get in? And I just started asking questions to everybody there and probably annoyed the crap out of everybody.
That's the thing though, is most drone pilots and FPV pilots, I mean most, I've met a few guys that are a little full of themselves, but for the most part, people are really happy to help you, right? They
Yes.
want people to understand how it works. Um, and that to me was another attraction to, I think I had seen some stuff in Europe where they were doing FPV racing, or really even just running through woods with FPV, right? People had put the kind of figured out how to put the camera on it and how to put the goggles on, and Fat Shark came out and started making these goggles that you could buy, and became a little bit more plug and play. But I can remember there was one video I watched of these two guys racing through a forest together, and they had LED lights on the back. And the thing that made it really cool for me wasn't just the FPV, like the first drone running. It was the fact that you could see the other drone, that they were flying in like a formation. It just reminded me of Star Wars, like when they're flying through the Death Star or something. I mean, I was just like,
Yeah.
I would watch that content constantly. And it's funny because I started flying FPV in 2016. So, it wasn't that long after I started the channel. And that's because I had some companies send me FPV stuff. I had Hubson send me an FPV thing. I can't remember. I mean, there were all these Chinese companies. I used to do a lot of stuff with a company called GearBest, which if you know
Yep.
Banggood, GearBest. So GearBest would get FPV and they would just send me whatever. And I was not any good at it. Like I really didn't take any time to learn how to become a good pilot. I would fly mostly in horizon mode, so I could do flips and stuff, but it was still stabilized. And then when I became, and I consider myself I'd say mid-grade, maybe even advanced mid-grade FPV pilot now. I can dive and I can fly through stuff and hit gaps and all that stuff. But this past summer, so 2020, almost a year ago, we're coming up on the spring, I decided to go out. I got the, GEP RC.
Yep.
So I got the GEP RC rocket and the DJI digital system. That was really what changed it for me, because I couldn't stand how crappy analog was at times.
Yeah.
So I got the rocket. I got 10 4S XT30 batteries, all matching, pretty much all the same battery. And I decided to go out and fly all 10 of them every day for a couple of weeks. And that really
Wow.
made a difference.
That's awesome that you're getting, you got into the hobby and obviously you like it. You're still flying FPV, and it really is just, I don't know. I don't want to say that I got bored with the camera drones, but I felt like I had learned kind of all there was to learn about it, and I felt like I could go out and get some great shots, but I already knew kind of how to do everything, and I kind of felt a little bit bored with. I kind of wanted something to learn, more to learn.
Well,
And
and
FPV seems like you'll never ever learn, like stop learning. It's you
yeah,
learn
yeah.
like all the time. It's
Things are
just
constantly changing, and I think you can continue to learn. With regard to the camera drones too, where I find the camera drones great. And especially
hmm
like the Mavic Air 2. That's been my go-to recently for travel. And I actually didn't bring a drone on this trip because I thought it was going to be fairly short. I didn't realize I'd be up here this week or this long, but when you go somewhere that's really beautiful and you can take a camera drone with you, and you have that reliability and that really steady 4K video, and not to what is it called, humble brag or whatever, but I've been able to go to Germany. I've been able to go to Norway. I've been able to go to Italy. A lot of this was for work. Some of it, the Germany trip, was a trip I took with my family because my dad was in the Air Force and stationed in Germany, so I lived there when I was younger. I've always wanted to take my kids back. But having a camera drone in those places, especially a really small, compact one, the reliability of that, how quick and easy it is to get up in the air, and how amazing a shots you can get, that's where I think it really shines. Flying a camera drone around at my kids' middle school, where I do a lot of flying, that is kind of boring to me because I've flown there so many times. It's like I don't have anything, but I'd rather fly FPV there. But when I'm traveling, a camera drone is just like, and then really, if you could do both, you could make the space in your luggage for like a Mavic Air 2 with 2 or 3 batteries and a smart controller, plus a little, 5-inch Cinewhoop kind of thing.
uh-huh. I love the camera drones, and what I love about like being involved in both of the hobbies, right? not just, I don't fly just FPV. Like, I'll definitely get out there and get the cinematic shots. I'm just now starting to get into a little bit more of like abandoned exploration. So I've been like exploring like abandoned locations, and I'll
That's
take the
really
Mavic
cool.
Air 2 and get some aerial shots and kind of help to tell the story of the location I'm exploring. Um, Thank you so much again, Plummet. Wow, with the $2 super chat. Awesome, man. I really appreciate your support, brother. And yeah, we're going to get a Carlton up there for you and get to make it rain, right? Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
brother. Appreciate that.
Got him. Yeah, Plummet.
Um,
I love that name too, Plummet FPV. I assume that's like a deep dive, a steep dive. That's a cool FPV name.
Yeah, I Plummet. He's a great friend, great supporter. We actually have like a chat on Messenger with a group of us drone buddies. I don't know if you utilize Messenger the same kind of way, but we basically have a chat where we all can get together and kind of chat about things going on in the drone hobby and in our own lives, and it's really fun. We're always in there interacting. It's a lot of fun.
What are your thoughts on remote ID? I mean, not to dive into that too deep because it's been talked about to death. But do you feel,
Yeah.
are you scared of it?
At first I was really anxious about it. I was really kind of nervous, like, oh my gosh, am I gonna have to, you know, dish out boatloads of money and go and take, more tests and just kind of get a little bit crazy with. Um, Now that I've seen the revitalized version of it, I feel a lot better. I feel like, okay, if I have to go and buy a $50 broadcaster and put it on my FPV drone, it's not the end of the world, right? I can put it, if I have a drone and I crash and I, end up taking it off of that drone and putting it on another drone, that's not the end of the world as long as it's modular, lightweight, affordable. I'm cool with the broadcaster. I think that's not really asking that much. The only thing I don't like is the fact that it broadcasts when you do the one that's built into the drone, like on your Mavics and drones like that. I don't like that it basically is public knowledge of where the pilot's location is.
Oh, like
That's a little bit bothersome to me, just because I don't want someone to take advantage of that and use that information for bad, if that makes any sense.
well, and the question. By the way, you got a couple of super chats in
I
there.
see that. Good. I'm trying to keep up. Thank you, Panda, for your support. And Joseph Ford, thank you so much for the super chats tonight, guys. I greatly appreciate it. You guys are definitely getting Carlton to work out tonight. He is dancing, and we are making it rain. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I do feel like there's a lot of things that we don't know yet, as far as, for example, how easily would it be for someone to actually see that information? And quite honestly, does anybody, unless you're doing something that is bothering somebody, does anybody really care? You know what I mean?
Right.
Is
Yeah.
is I mean, someone could look up on a hillside and see you standing up there with goggles on. Okay, they know you're, there's a lot of other ways. I've heard a few people say, they're concerned about safety, about somebody coming over, but somebody can't just come over and start beating you up. I mean, that's assault, right? I mean, that's hopefully our law of the land will be that people don't do that. But anyway, it really comes down to a question of how easily people can get that information, right? Is it something that anybody with the app on their phone, and then how many people are going to actually bother to download that app? And then when it comes down to things like law enforcement and stuff like that, I mean, I'm of the opinion, kind of like you said, that if I have to put another piece of hardware on a drone, and as long as it isn't massively expensive or massively heavy or causing me issues with it, and what we have like 18 months until the manufacturers have to start doing it, and then another few months after that until the individuals have to start doing it. I feel like the tech is just going to get better and better. People are going to come up with ways to make all this work between now and then. I'm not chicken little skies falling with this right now. And I know some people that have been a lot more concerned, but that's kind of my personality. I'm always kind of like, all right, let's see what happens, kind of thing. But I also think I'd go out of my way to not bother people when I'm. Lone Star UAV said, "I want to see somebody come up and try to beat me up."
We hope that doesn't happen.
So
Yeah.
you don't know Kai, but he's about 7'2". So
Oh wow.
yeah, he's
okay.
a big
Well,
guy.
that's not going to happen then.
No, I like flying with him because I kind of figure if anybody comes over and gives us any grief, I just say, It's kind of like the Princess Bride. The little guy who has the Andre the Giant. You ever seen the Princess Bride?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. He's like that big, huh?
Yeah, big guy. Big guy. Super.
Welcome in
And
real quick. We have more people hop in chat. Michael Blade,
I know Mike
Mike
Blade.
Brooks, aka the Drone Ranger.
I know
We
him
got
too.
Mystery D. We got Bicycle Guy McGraw. D McGraw, welcome. Joseph Ford, MD95 TSI, D Strux, Eric Buff. Let me make sure I miss anybody. Panda and Crystal Justice. Welcome in, everybody.
Noise Boys Garage too.
Noise Boys Garage too.
I like that name.
Yes, welcome in, Noise Boys. Oh, you know what? I think he won one of my giveaways or something.
Nice.
I think you won my props, bud. I sent you email. I think he's the one. I did a random giveaway on one of my videos. I did a little secret little giveaway.
So what's your favorite like go-to FPV quad right now? Do you have one that you like the most? Is it a home built or is it like a
Yes. So as far as ones, I build all my own FPV drones. I use the Impulse RC reverb frames. Also, I have one Alien frame as well. They're all 5-inch. They're lined up back here.
Yep.
So basically, they're all the same frame, same motors, basically all the same parts, except for the Alien. It's a little bit different of a frame, but not enough to where it feels any different when I'm flying. And the reason that I like doing that is that way, if I crash one like today, I completely like just destroyed one of mine. It's not flying anymore. I can hop right into another one and get that same feel without missing a beat, so that I can keep it consistent to keep my FPV as consistent as possible.
Are you mostly flying analog or
Yep,
just
I'm still flying all analog. I use 800 milliwatt for my video, and I use all really good antennas like Rush FPV, Rush Tank VTXs, real high quality parts. I've got the Fat Shark HD3s with the rapid fire module. I utilize Lumineer antennas, which really work really good. For the most part, I don't have a lot of issues with my video with the spots I fly. I don't really do a lot of long range flights, so for me, digital's not as much of a push, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I gotta think. I mean, honestly, I think that I don't think I've ever done analog 100% the right way. Meaning that I've got the HDOs, the Batshark HDOs, with the which module? Immersion RC model. Which one is it?
Using the Ghost.
No.
Or the wait a minute, Immersion RC for your goggle module.
It's the red one with the digital readout on the front.
True D.
What's that?
True D.
No, it's not True D.
Not True D.
It's my point though is that I don't think that I should probably sit down. So do you know who?
Rapid Fire.
Yeah, that's what it is. Rapid Fire.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you know who Doc Murdoch is?
I've heard of him.
So he's a big FPV guy, and he blew me away. The first time I ever saw really, really clear FPV was flying his rig. So I flew his goggles, he had the whole setup, and I'm like, wait, this isn't digital? He's like, no, it's analog, because he's doing it probably the way you are. I've never been, I don't know, I've just never been able to get analog to work that well for me. And so now with digital, I'm pretty much just always wanting a CADX unit or a DJI Air unit in everything I'm flying. I think analog is really fun for indoors or tiny whoops and such, which I love doing that. That's a blast. But I would either need to get a lot better at the way I set up my analog and probably spend some more money, not buy the cheap antennas, because I think that's been part of my problem too. Is I've bought a lot of cheap stuff for it.
Yeah. I would say for FPV, there's one system that you do not want to cheap out on, and you do not want to go budget on, and that is the FPV system. You want to make sure you get good, high quality components. These VTXs, video transmitters, they output a high milliwatt. You want something probably, if you're going to be flying through like buildings and like thick trees, you're going to want like at least probably like 600 milliwatt and
Yeah.
higher.
Most of the ones I'm flying will do between 25 milliwatts all the way up to about 600.
Yeah. And 25 milliwatt for FPV outside, not going to cut it. You're definitely going to want at least 200 if you're racing. If you're going to be flying freestyle, I would say 200 for a bare minimum. You
Yeah.
definitely want to crank it up. But the VTXs get very hot at those high output powers.
Right.
So that's why I said you really want to get a good quality component if you're going to be flying analog to get a good experience. And obviously, like I said, I've got rapid fire, Lumineer antennas. I didn't shortchange anything when it came to the FPV system because I did that in the beginning, right? I did like the budget, video transmitters
right,
and
lose signal, and you're like, where am I? And you crash into a fence, and yeah,
exactly,
many times.
Exactly.
Well,
So yeah,
that should be a challenge. That should be a challenge I give to myself, is to try to fly, set up a better analog system, because I have quite a few still analog quads, and I still have the Fat Sharks. I just was seeing in the comment a couple of people talking about the go-kart track, which is awesome. That's I just watched that video earlier today too. It was pretty cool.
yeah, that's actually my good buddy MD95 TSI, Chris Justice. He actually got permission from the owner of the track to let us come and fly FPV there when they're not doing the go-kart races. And I just think that's awesome, man. Just to know that we have a spot that we already have permission, we can go and fly and not have to worry about anything is just golden.
So wait, MD95 TSI, his name is Chris Justice?
Uh-huh.
I have a very good friend named Chris Justice as well. That's really funny.
Oh, well, there you go. See?
He lives in Florida now, but he actually we worked together for years. He kind of helped me get the drone thing going. Like, he's a developer, does software and stuff like that, and he helped me build the original website and stuff. But that's funny, Chris Justice. What's up, Chris Justice?
Yeah, and Crystal Justice, that's his wife. She's in here as well.
Nice.
And good, very good people. They actually have a YouTube show they do on Friday nights. So I'll go ahead and put their plug in here.
Cool.
On their channel, MD95TSI, every Fridays. Make sure you check out the Drone Network on MD95TSI Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And come hang out with those guys. Great group of people. They have great knowledge and great show and have a good time.
Ooh. I just heard snow crack over. I have a snowboard leaning against the wall, and it had snow on it, and it's all starting to drip off. That's why they don't like you to bring them into the rooms.
Oh, geez. Well, I'm glad that, I'm guessing power is restored to your house now, finally?
Yes. So
Good,
my wife was without. I left on Wednesday. The kids came up here on Friday last week, and I think the power went out on Saturday, and she was without power for like 3.5 days. And she fortunately is Canadian, and so she's like, cold, no problem. That's not really cold for her. But we have animals, and we have plants, and we have our water pipes did burst. We have a tankless water heater, which is outside, and the water going into the tankless heater actually burst. And so I think there's still no hot water in our house right now. I will find out on Monday. She was supposed to get a plumber in yesterday, but he didn't show up. So I don't know if there's gonna be hot water or not. And I see Bob Casey in the chat. What's up, Bob Casey? Good to see you, man.
Welcome in, Bob Casey. And Vampire 4997, welcome in, John. John says after the show he has a premiere, so make sure you go check him out on Vampire's channel. He does FPV freestyle, and he's one of the ones that he sends it hard. He rips it. He does that real, like, I'm trying to think of the word. He just has his own like kind of flow, his own kind of flying. It's really, really unique. And,
I would love to go check that out. That's awesome. I think the other thing that got me into FPV originally was watching the Drone Racing League. I mean, those guys just, they're so good, and they're operating at such a high level. And also, I don't know if you know those quads that they fly, the series that are built for DRL, they are heavy. They are beasts.
Yeah.
I mean, those things just are all kinds of, because they carry all those LEDs on them and stuff. But those guys are super talented, very nice guys too. I've got to meet a few of them. If you guys haven't been watching DRL, unfortunately this year it's all been virtual. They've been doing the sim. But I mentioned earlier, Eric, about going out and trying to fly every day fly 10 packs a day for a week or two. That made
Okay.
a big difference, but also playing the DRL sim actually really made a difference for me. So I've also played Liftoff. It's really good. Velocidrone is really good. I haven't played that, but I've heard a lot of people say it's a good one. But DRL sim, they put a lot of money into it, and I think the physics in it are really great, and you can play with a real Tyrannus radio too. So
I highly recommend the Sims, especially like when the weather's kind of crummy and you can't get out to get the stick time in, right? Because that muscle memory is really the most important thing. Getting used to the way the quad reacts to how you control it with the sticks. And when you can get that muscle memory tuned in and get that time in on the simulator, or maybe even just whooping in the house, whatever you can do, I definitely am all for it. I use the liftoff. I really like it.
yeah, liftoff is I think one of the things that's kind of funny to me about liftoff is they really embrace the analog aesthetic. So if you fly too far away, you lose signal and the drone just disappears. Versus with DRL, if you fly out of bounds, I think you just reappear somewhere else.
Yeah.
I was doing a thing with a guy over in Germany. We were flying. He was doing a simulator Sunday thing, 3 o'clock on Sundays, and I was going on with him and racing him every Sunday. It was pretty cool.
That is awesome.
In liftoff. But so also, if you get a chance, Eric, and anybody in the chat, if you're interested, my son, who has not done a lot of drone flying, I mean, he has more than most kids because he's my son, but he's into other stuff. But he did a 10-day challenge with the DRL sim where he had never played it before, and then played it for 10 days in a row for an hour every day, and went from barely being able to complete a course. I think it took him 7 minutes on sort of our test track. There's one called Gates of Hell in the DRL sim. It's you fly through shipping containers, and then you fly through bridges, and then you fly through a boat. It's really cool. But
Wow.
it took him 7 minutes the first time he did it, and then he was down to under a minute at the end doing it in acro.
That's awesome, man.
1
Is
hour a
he
day.
is he thinking about like getting into racing?
I've let him fly. I've let him fly my FPV stuff a little bit, but no, he's more into sports right now. He
Yeah.
plays lacrosse, and now is like, I think it's only a couple of days until he's a better snowboarder than me. So I'm kind of scared.
You can never have too many hobbies, right?
Well, it is pretty awesome. That I told my wife we were stuck in Denver. We weren't going to be able to fly out till Monday, and I'm like, I think I thought she was going to be a little concerned about the cost because it is expensive, right? Skiing's not a cheap thing to do.
Right.
And so I said, I kind of want to take him up and do 2 more days in Winter Park. She's like, yeah, you should totally do it. And so it's like father-son time, right? I get to have fun too. So
That's awesome, man. I mean, to be able to go out there and have a great time and bond with your son and get out there and snowboard, and that's awesome.
yeah, it was, and it's lots of snow today, lots of powder. It was a lot of fun. Have you watched any of Johnny FPV stuff where he's chasing snowboarders and skiers?
I have not actually seen any recent of Johnny FPV in a while.
I think it was 2020 or 2019. They did this thing with Audi. He did some kind of collaboration. It's worth checking out. Just
Okay.
Google FPV snowboard Audi. You'll find it.
Yeah.
They built this big ramp system. Audi did, I assume, and they had their logo. And the Audi logo is all those rings. So he would fly through the rings. The guys would jump over it, and I mean, he was just like so close to these borders and stuff, doing these tricks. And we're watching it, and my son's like blown away by the snowboarding, like all the tricks they're doing, and I'm blown away by the FPV flying. Right?
Uh-huh.
How did he go over this jump and then kind of dive straight down to the guy and then twist around him? I mean, crazy.
Wow, that sounds pretty insane. I'll definitely have to give that a watch.
That guy's
And everybody in the chat and anybody watching this in the future, Kelly, Ready Set Drones, link for his channel is in the video description. Make sure you go check him out, give him a follow. Great guy. He's got some great content. I actually, before we get into the news, I actually was really surprised at how fun that little bird drone you got
The bird was awesome. And, I had a couple of people. So I didn't get, so it was right at the beginning of the month. I had a couple of people win. I had 2 people win those birds. And the company that sent it to me, sent me 2 so I could give both of them away. Anyway,
That's great.
I didn't send them out. I didn't mail them before I left. And now I've been gone for 2 weeks and I feel really bad because these people are waiting for these birds to arrive. So I'll have to mail them as soon as I get back. But yeah, man, it is so amazing how well you can control that. It's just a little thumbstick. So it's just left, right. And then when you push it forward, it flaps harder and goes higher. And then when you pull it back, the flap kind of slows down and then it just glides. And then you can start it again by pulling the trigger and it'll start flapping again. And it has I don't know if you saw this, but because I didn't really talk much about it, it has a little infrared obstacle sensor. So it actually will try to go around stuff. So I flew it in my living room and it was just like this. I mean, it's a good sized living room, but still it's flying around in circles by itself.
That is awesome. And I actually got a drone to review from Snapton. They're a toy drone company.
Oh yeah, I'm from
a while back. And they actually gave me this blue little line of sight drone that had the ducks on it, and it actually had infrared sensors on all 4 sides. So you could set it on the infrared sensors, and it would literally fly itself around your house, and it would avoid the walls. Any obstacle it saw, it flew the opposite direction of that obstacle. So it would continuously just fly around your house completely autonomously, which is great for the kids because the kids are like, "Oh man, I'm like the best drone pilot ever. I can't even crash."
Right. Here, Dad, hold my beer.
Exactly. We'll get ready to jump into the drone news. It's actually kind of exciting. I'll pop this up here. Let me get the banner up, and we'll do the drone news here.
All right.
And I think you may have already heard about this one. I think you're going to like it. And we'll jump right into the news in just a second. All right, so this is actually hundreds of drones that took Van Gogh's The Starry Night to the skies and set the Guinness World Record. Check this out. This is all LEDs from drones that are flying.
That is insane. How many did they get in the air?
So 600 drones come together and perform the story of Van Gogh's life in Tianjin, China. So they honored Van Gogh by actually having the drones set up in particular spaces to form with the LEDs some of his famous paintings.
That's awesome. I guess if it was in China, it wasn't Intel, right? Because Intel has those drones that they use for shows like that. I know. I've seen a few YouTube videos, documentaries about them and stuff. But do you know who the company was that did it?
This is the EFYI Group, a drone production company, along with the Tianjin University in China.
Wow.
They're the ones that set the record for the longest animation performed by unmanned aerial vehicles with a time of 26 minutes and 19 seconds.
So every single one of those drones had to stay in the air that long. That's insane.
Let me see if I can get this to pull up. We will try.
Joseph Ford says, you show up in the middle blasting 800 watts of full throttle.
Let me make sure the volume's not too loud here.
Well, now those look like Phantoms.
Exactly. Yes, they do. I just think this right here is just so cool. I mean, just think about how much time they had to put into the programming of this.
Have you ever seen the ones that Intel has?
I have. I have seen some of the Intel drone light shows. They are really, really amazing. Wow.
Just wait till they attack us. We're doomed.
I mean, can you imagine seeing that in person, Kelly?
That is so awesome.
Oh, man, I would love to be able to see something like that here in the States.
Yeah, I feel like Disney has been doing some shows with that. I mean, it was becoming kind of the replacement for fireworks for a little while, right? Some people were doing drone shows instead of fireworks shows, which is cool. It's certainly probably a bit more expensive to do a drone show. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know how much. Oh, look at that. Look at how it looks like it's in 3D space. That's the crazy part.
I'm just truly just blown away at what the technology has come. I mean, think about when we started till now, you know?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Back to the little toys that we started playing with, in 2013, 2014. That's awesome.
Now, I believe this is sped up. So if you look at here in the right corner, you will see that this has been sped up. So it was a little bit slower in person, but still, I mean, just look at that. Maybe it's
Yeah, I
not
mean,
sped up.
it looks kind of like old 8-bit video games.
I just can't even describe like how in awe I am of this. I just think
That
this
would be
is
a
phenomenal.
cool drone show. Is a tribute to 8-bit video games.
Yeah.
Hey, I see Dan in the audience. What's up, Dan? Good to see you, man.
Hey, Drone Warship with a $2 super chat. Welcome in, brother. Thank you so much. And you know what that means. We're going to get Carlton back out here cutting up the rug, and you are making it rain, my friend.
That's a drone show with Carlton. If they could make Carlton dance with drones, that'd be pretty sweet.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yes, indeed. But I had to share that with you guys because I thought that was just hella cool right there. I mean, I don't care who you are. If you know anything about drones, this right here is pretty freaking cool.
And as you said, I imagine the programming. I imagine the programming is complicated, but I would also imagine there's a lot of things that are done through AI. Perhaps like the fact that they don't run into each other. That's kind of. I mean, of course, that's sensors and stuff like that. But still, somebody had to come up with the creative concept and then be able to come up with every color to match every pixel of this image you're seeing. This is like a light bright in the sky.
Exactly. And the fact that I'm pretty sure they probably do a lot of this like completely autonomously, right? I mean, they know exactly where to fly three-dimensionally in space and where to move to the next part. And
Vampire 4997 said Donkey Kong with drones. That would be awesome.
Yeah, there you go. I'd love to see that, man. I love the 80s and the games, and adding that with the drones would be really cool, man.
That is one thing I'll say. There are some pretty cool. We were talking about the Sims earlier, the drone simulators, the Liftoff and DRL and Velocidrone. I wish they had some, and maybe they do. Maybe I've just never seen it. I've always looked for a drone game where you fly a drone to do things like kind of like a 3D space, kind of like I don't know, kind of like Super Nintendo or Sonic the Hedgehog or something like that, where you're flying through and collecting things, and you got bad guys chasing you, and maybe you have lasers you can shoot out. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Have you seen the new FPV laser tag system that they've come out with?
No. What is that?
So basically, they have a 3D printed mount that you can mount on your quadcopters that will accept a kind of infrared sensor that you can actually shoot out little laser signals to hit other drones and knock them out of the sky. And the LED indicator is in view of your FPV camera.
Oh.
And every time you get hit, one of the LEDs that's lit up will go unlit.
So if you get like 5 hits, you're out.
You're out. Yeah.
The low tech way you could do that is you could just like mount a balloon on the bottom of your drone, and everybody just has to pop the other guy's balloons. I don't know how a drone can fly with a balloon mounted to it. Probably not very well.
That would be fun. That would be awesome.
Do you remember that game? It was big at like birthday parties and stuff, where you tied a balloon to your ankle, and then basically all the kids had to step on the other people's balloons.
Actually, no, I've never seen that.
Oh yeah, man! If you have kids, it's great. You just take a piece of string, you tie a balloon to everybody's ankle, and then last one with the balloon unpopped wins.
Oh wow, that sounds like a good time.
Razman says, so down for laser quads.
Oh, absolutely, man. I would be all over that.
I'm going to register that domain name right now, laserquads.com. I got to get that one.
I would be all over that. That was the drone headlines. I you know, it's easy to kind of get carried away with all the negatives that are in the media, but when I see positive things like that, I'm like, yes, drones for something good. Let's put it on blast.
Yeah, I mean that's unfortunate that I think, you know, the media gets more traffic when they put in the salacious stuff versus the cool stuff.
Yes. Welcome in Michael McReynolds, Drone Warship, Chuck at FPV. Welcome in, guys. Bob Casey, I think, yep, I welcomed him in earlier. And Lone Star. Welcome in,
Star
guys.
UAV.
Absolutely.
And for everyone who lives in the Texas area, reach out to Lone Star UAV because I think we are going to do a meetup next Saturday down in New Braunfels.
Awesome, man.
It's not my thing; it's his thing. I just show up. So if you want to go to Lone Star UAV and DM him if you want to, if you're in Central Texas and want to join us.
Absolutely. And I know you're probably going to be doing what spin up come the spring, right? Or the summer?
In the fall. It's always been the first year it was in December. The second year it was in I think it was also in December, and then last year it was in September, I think. But yes, spin up is definitely something I want to continue. It was challenging, of course, with COVID this past year, and you know, traveling and people not being able to gather, even like states mandating how many people you can have, et cetera. But yeah, the goal would be for it to be sometime between September and December of 2021.
Okay, awesome. So make sure you guys check out Kelly's channel for more information on that. Sounds like it's a good time, as I've seen in the past. A lot of people
man.
get together, and
it's so nice to meet all these folks that you see online and get to meet them in person.
Absolutely, man. Speaking of those cool LEDs, I actually just ordered 3 sets of the new GemFan LED props for my 5-inch quadcopters.
I've seen those.
Oh, I had to.
They're tri-blade, right? And they're only in one of the 3 blades, or only in one of the 3.
Yeah, so they etched it out so it reflects the light in a certain way.
Those look sick.
Man, and we've done chases before with using the smoke bombs. We'll put the colored smoke bombs on the bottom, and we'll chase them.
That's awesome.
And somebody on my Instagram said, man, that would be even cooler if you had LEDs. And I said, bingo. I'm going to go ahead and get those props. We're going to attach some smoke bombs, and we're going to do some chase scenes, chasing the quadcopters with the LED props and the smoke. Oh, that's going to be some epic times.
So the GemFans each have their own little battery, right? They each have a little tiny 1-cell battery that goes in them. Like, it's a really flat little thing.
Okay. It basically takes like a little like almost like a little watch battery.
Like a watch battery. I think so.
And then when you put that in there, you have to tighten the prop nut all the way,
and then it completes the circuit.
Exactly. Yep. Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I've seen those. They look really, really cool. There were several manufacturers that made Mavic LED props, and they varied in quality. Like, some of them were really terrible, but they looked so cool when they were on. And they would usually be, for the Mavic, it's two blades, right? And so they would be across one of the blades, and when it spins, you don't notice if it's on one or two. But if you kind of look down on that drone, it looked best from the top. So like if you hovered it and looked down on it, it looked really awesome.
That is cool. Speaking of the LEDs and all that and the Mavic Air, I know you got a chance to test out the Master Airscrew props for the Mavic Air 2, right?
Yeah.
I messaged Master Airscrew. I have still yet to receive my props, so I wondered either if they, 1, forgot, which could be possible.
Yeah.
Or 2, if they were working on a possible fix, or maybe making a different version that didn't have the vibrations that some of the pilots were getting. Well,
it's really funny because I literally put out a video about flight time. I know it was about noise. Actually, it was about noise, and they have a slightly lower pitch than the normal. Of course, the Mavic Air 2 is pretty quiet to begin with. But these have a slightly lower pitch. And so I was talking about that in this video. I put it online, and then the next day I start seeing all these videos, particularly 51 Drones. I think Russ had that vibration issue, and I was like, I didn't notice that, but I was taking off from a a landing pad in grass, right? So it absorbs all that. There's not really, you can't see that vibration. I put mine onto a wooden picnic table, and then also onto we have a stainless steel table in the back where I do my grilling and stuff. Put it on that. Man, you could really see that thing shake and kind of spinning and stuff when you put it on there, but it didn't shake with the original props. And I will say the master air screws for the Mavic 2 Pro didn't shake either. Like those were rock solid. So I think it was strictly the Mavic Air 2. I mean, a lot of people were saying, well, it's going to cause vibrations and make your motors bad. I don't know. I think you'd have to fly a lot before you would really, do enough cumulative damage. But I agree. I think the Master Air Screw could do a better job. Everything I've ever gotten from them before has worked great, and
that's kind of why I was confused, because the Master Air Screw props for the Mavic Air, they were awesome. I mean, I was getting a little bit additional flight time. They were way I want to say lower of a pitch. They were not as high of a pitch. It wasn't as irritable sounding to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really surprised when I saw your video and like you said, Russ's video. I was like, man, the Master Air Screw, and I had reached out to him and said, I have the Mavic Air 2. I'd love to test them out, put out a video for you. And they said they were going to send them, and then I never got them. So it made me wonder. I said, well, maybe they're working on a fix for that. Maybe that's why they didn't send them. But
yeah, I would hope so. I mean, I think they got. It's unfortunate because they generally, with me, again, I've always had a good experience with their products, and I know they're made. They're very much a U.S. based company, and they really tout that. Kind of American made, and and I've now. It's hard for me to be objective sometimes, though, because I do have a big YouTube channel. I wonder if I get better treatment sometimes than others. I have done some things anonymously with support, where I don't say who I am and just try to see what happens, because I want to see how I would get treated if they didn't recognize me. And so I don't know. I've always had a good experience with Master Air Screw. I hope they get that straightened out, because I hate to see all the damage they've taken to their reputation because of it.
Yes, same here. I mean, I feel like they put a ton of time and effort into a good quality product in the past, and to see this is kind of a little bit shocking, to be honest. I kind of was like, what? And then my second thing was like, okay, do I really need quiet propellers for the Mavic Air 2? Because like you said, it really is very much so quiet. A lot
quiet to begin with.
Quieter than the Mavic Air original.
Yeah. Oh, much. God, the Mavic.
So I thought, well, it's got to have a caveat or a perk somewhere, right? Like maybe additional flight time. Maybe.
Well, it's the color.
Cooler.
For me, it's that bright orange. Just looks so damn cool, right? I mean,
yes, it had to be something.
I love those bright orange props, and I actually love doing different colors in the front and back. That would be something I think DJI could come out with very easily, is different colors for their props, and they could probably sell a lot more aftermarket props that way. But
yeah, I agree with you.
Drone Worship says, just remember, guys, the Master Air Screw props only seem to affect the IMU on the Phantom series. Dan, I had actually tried to put some Master Air Screws onto a Phantom, and they have two different kinds. They have the Stealth, and then they have like the Endurance. They have one that's supposed to be quieter and one that's supposed to be longer flight time, and I think one folds and the other doesn't. And man, we had a hell of a time getting those things on to the Phantom 4 Pro V2. It was Michael Wright. So Michael Wright's not in the chat. He's a drone guy that I've met up with a few times to fly. We were trying to get those things on there, and now I don't know. Have you ever flown, Eric? Have you ever flown the Mavic? I'm sorry, the Phantom 4 Pro V2?
I have not flown the Phantom 4 Pro. I have flown the Phantom 3 Standard, and I've flown I believe it was the Phantom 3. Was there a Phantom 3 Pro too, right?
Yeah, I think they had a Pro version and the Standard version.
Yeah, I've flown the Phantom 3 Pro. Great drones, I mean.
Oh, yeah, and
solid.
The 4 is even, of course, they took it to the next level. The thing, though, that I've noticed is even the DJI props are actually quite difficult to get on and off. It's like that push in and twist is just so damn hard. I was actually talking to somebody at Emacs about quick release props, and you know, on their, not necessarily on a tiny hawk, but on like their baby hawk and some of their bigger ones, like their 4 and 5 inch drones. And he said that the reason they don't do it, because a lot of those FPV drones that don't use a nut, was, you know, the smaller ones use screws to hold the props on, which is a hassle, right? I mean, it's just, it makes it a lot harder to change a prop.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it does.
he said it's a weight thing, like the weight difference between using 2 screws or 4 screws versus some kind of quick release device is pretty significant.
Okay. Yeah, actually, Chuck at FPV, he was having some issues with some props, I think, for a toothpick, and he was having an issue getting the right length of screws to tighten those props down onto the motor.
Actually, so I had that same issue. I don't know if Lone Star UAV is still in the chat. I forget what those are called now. That's M3s, I think. Is that right? The ones that have the little hex head on the top. Anyway, he pointed me to a place where you could download, or where you could order a box that had like 500 of those little screws, and they're all different lengths and all different widths. So basically, pretty much any one you could need. Because I had the same issue with it was a little ducted quad that I was flying. It had shaken a lot, and a couple of the screws had fallen out. Like I hadn't checked it before, and I hadn't used any Loctite or anything. So I couldn't find those particular screws. I ordered this kit with all these screws in it, and it had the right ones that I needed. So
Okay, awesome. And you got that kit from
Amazon.
Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I can, if you'll remind me after this, I can send you. I was just reading some of the chat, but if you'll remind me after this, I could send you the link to it. It was like $20, and I think it's like literally 500 of these little. Lone Star UAV says get them from Race Day Quads.
Okay, Race Day Quads. Thank you, Lone Star.
Yeah. Anyway, he's actually the one that told me that, because it's something that you'd think you could get at like a hobby shop or at Home Depot or something, but those are such specialized little screws.
Yeah.
You have to find them someplace.
Exactly.
And Blue Loctite is your friend.
Yeah,
Show support.
Blue
Blue
Loctite.
Loctite is your friend. 100% agreed.
Absolutely. If you didn't notice, I went ahead and just opened up the Q&A. We'll go ahead and open up the Q&A for Kelly, myself, and
Sure.
chat. Feel free to drop your questions in. Jay Bird had a question for Kelly here. Let me pull that up.
Okay.
He said, hey, Kelly, any advice for the new DJ? Well, you might not be able to talk about that. Guys, Kelly can't actually talk about that. So we're going to have to skip that one. Nothing about the FPV drone for DJI. Sorry about that. That's the one thing we can't talk about. Let's see. Somebody else had a question.
Somebody was talking about little toothpick prop screws. M2, yeah, that's right. That is the right size.
Awesome. So you get the M3 size and just get the kit that has a whole bunch of different screws in it. I think I got mine from Race Day Quads.
Yeah,
I've got it somewhere back there, but it's got a whole wide variety of them.
Yeah, that's what Lone Star UAV was saying. And I've ordered stuff from Race Day Quads. They're great customer service. They really take care of people. So, and
They're my favorite vendor.
You could even contact them and tell them exactly what you need, and they probably recommend the right thing.
Yes. For close to 100 US, what's the go-to boring camera drone? Now, look, I was going to say that earlier, and I forgot, Kelly. As much as I am passionate and I love FPV, I will say sometimes it is nice for me to just be like, you know what? I'm not going to go, balls to the wall today. I'm going to take out my Mavic and have a nice little relaxing flight, and I don't have to worry about, if I let off the sticks, what's going to happen. The GPS is going to keep it nice and locked in.
Yeah.
And
well,
sometimes it's nice to have those nice little relaxing flights, right?
And especially if you have if you're someplace where you're trying to capture some kind of really nice video of, I mean, you can get some awesome looking video with FPV, but it's a different style of video, right? To me, it's more dramatic, and it's, there's a lot more motion, of course. But if you're just trying to do a nice slow, move across a bridge, I recently got to shoot some video in the city of Marble Falls, which is outside of outside of Austin. We're doing a video for them about their wastewater treatment. So I got to fly all over their water treatment plant, all over the
Oh, wow.
river. Yeah, I was actually, the city manager was with me. So he was like, you fly wherever you want. We want this video. But the coolest thing was they have a bridge going over the river, and I did a hyperlapse going all the way across the bridge. And what was cool is the cars are going super fast both directions, and then the clouds behind it are going, and then like there's a boat going through the river you could see. I mean, it was like the best shot of the whole video. And I
The
did that
more
with
action, the better. The more things that are moving, the better it's going to be.
yeah, and I did that with a Mavic. But to props off, man, I would say if you want to spend, you're not going to get a really good camera drone for $100, but if you're willing to spend 300, the Mavic Mini, or the Mini 2, which is a little more expensive, but it has OcuSync. Honestly, though, if this guy is looking to go as cheap as possible, I'll bet a lot of people are selling their minis online right now because of the Mini 2.
Yeah.
So look on eBay or something and see if you. As a matter of fact, I have one I want to sell, and I'd say probably $100-$150 is what I might sell it for. But
Well, there you go.
Look
Can he
on
send
eBay.
you an email, or he might be able to send you an email if you want to sell it?
Yeah, props off. If your buddy wants to hit me up, I've had this Mini. And I have the Mini 2 now, and I don't see myself ever flying the Mini again, so I should sell it. So there you go. But,
Awesome.
but I think that's going to be a lot of people selling, and that would be the other thing too. Actually, to answer his question one more way, is go back and buy a Phantom 3, right? Buy that Phantom 3 Standard, or buy the Mavic Pro, the original Mavic Pro. Those are awesome camera drones. There's so many of them out there. You can still find parts for them. You can still find batteries. You can still find chargers, all that stuff.
That would be my number one thing. Can you still get new batteries for the older Phantom style drones today?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would say actually so the Mantis Q is what Dan's recommending.
Okay.
But I would also say the Spark is actually a really great little drone and really fun to fly. Now, I've heard about people having some issues recently, and I don't think DJI is updating their firmware or supporting it anymore. So that might be a question. But
okay. And Dan wants to know, out of all the drones you have flown, Kelly, because we know you've flown quite a bit, what is your absolute favorite? If you could only have one, what would it be?
Okay, that actually is pretty easy. That one is by Newbie Drones. It's the Vivid Frame. It's a 6S. It's the only 6S I own, with a full DJI air unit in it. It is.
Oh wow, FPV drone.
It is so much fun to fly. And I think I had never actually flown a 6S until last October. Somebody let me fly their 6S, and because I had mostly been flying 4S FPV, and man, this thing just goes. So that's my it's Newbie Drones. You can get, again, it's called the Vivid Frame, and you can get it with the full. It'll hold a full air unit in it.
Awesome. He's got a DJI Fav. You mean Mavic 2? Any idea when the firmware is going to be out?
DJI Mavic 2. I don't know. I'm not really good about keeping up with those things. There's a lot of people that do a better job than me. If you're talking about the Mavic 2, I'm not sure which one you mean, Joseph. So if you can, I don't think you meant Fav 2 though.
Yeah, I didn't even know you got a Mavic 2, Joe. Did you? You gonna get into the camera drones there? That's awesome, man. We'll go out and get some shots. Joseph's a buddy of mine.
The Mavic 2, in my opinion, right now, if I have to take something on a professional job, and I don't need 60 frames a second, the Mavic 2 is my go. The Mavic 2 Pro is my go-to drone. Now, if I need 60 frames per second or a mechanical shutter, I'll take the Phantom 4. And it's really funny. Since COVID, I've actually been getting a lot more professional like flying gigs with camera drones. Like the city of Marble Falls, like I said, we just did a nonprofit in Austin it's basically called Marathon Kids, and it's for getting kids who don't exercise to get out and exercise more. And we used drones to actually fly alongside while they were running. We didn't fly over them, but we flew kind of alongside and got a cool tracking shot. Yeah, so it's Drone Worship says if you go to the marketplace, you can pick up a Mantis Q extremely cheap.
Then he said, don't buy the Phantom 3. It runs legacy protocols, which is being decommissioned. And there are no upgrades for the GPS.
Yeah, actually, I think what you're talking about is not OcuSync, but what was the one they had before OcuSync?
That was the Wi-Fi they used, right? Was the enhanced?
Lightbridge was the previous protocol, and you're right. The Mavic
Okay.
or the Phantom 3 does use Lightbridge, not OcuSync. That's the other thing too. Honestly, if you are going to buy a Mavic Mini, the Mini 2 uses OcuSync, whereas the original Mini uses enhanced Wi-Fi. So, if you're going to keep it close to you, great. Man, I had this one chance, and I keep going back to Norway. Have you ever been to Norway, or do you know much about it, Eric?
Never been, but
Freaking
it sounds awesome.
most
Just the
beautiful
sound of it
place.
just sounds awesome.
You
Is that
go
like near
there, and
Sweden?
it's south of Sweden.
Okay.
They're kind of actually east and west of each other. But you go there, and it's, I guess, west of Sweden. You go there, and there are waterfalls everywhere. It's like you pass these waterfalls. So my brother-in-law is Norwegian. My wife's sister is married to a guy from Norway. So that's why we were able to go over there, stay with his family, use their car. And you would see these waterfalls, and we would be driving, and I'd be like, stop, I want to get a shot. Because I actually had my Mavic Pro with me at the time. Yeah, I think it was the Mavic. This was 2017, so it was the Mavic Pro. And he'd say, oh, no, that's nothing. These waterfalls we're passing would be like national monuments in the U.S. You know what I mean? Like Yellowstone.
Oh, wow.
And then we get to the next one, and it's even bigger and even bigger. And every time I would be more and more impressed. But what I was going to say is we were in this little town called Dalen, and it's in a fjord. And one of the nicest thing about OcuSync is I sent my drone way, way out into the fjord to get this waterfall and this freighter going past it. And I got this awesome shot. I mean, it was, a couple of miles out there. It was a long way off. And
wow.
I knew because it was a Mavic with OcuSync, I knew I would get it back, and I did. You know what I mean? It's just, that's not something you get with enhanced Wi-Fi.
You're absolutely correct. Now, when I bought the Phantom 3 Standard, I actually bought it off a buddy of mine, and he had done the Wi-Fi upgrade on the controller where it had like the external antenna upgrade.
Yeah,
and
like
it had,
the kind of the cones.
it was like a flat. It was like a flat boosted Wi-Fi board that was right on the top of the transmitter. It was highly directional.
Right.
But as long as you aim that at the drone, you could get significantly further range with that upgrade. And I had good results with that. That really did really well with going out, a little bit further than you can typically get.
And I will say it's not something I used to do range tests on every drone I got, and I stopped doing that because it's such a it's fairly, well, it's illegal, right, to go beyond line of sight, visual line of sight, but also I have to have a reason to do it now. And like I said, that waterfall in Norway, I was over a fjord. I figured if my drone went down, it was going to go, hundreds of feet into the water. So I wasn't worried about hurting anybody in that case. But yeah, it's if you are going to get a camera drone, I think it is worth getting. And to Drone Worship's point too about the GPS, make sure you're getting the GPS that's going to stay active. I don't know. Is it glass? Not
GLONASS?
GLONASS, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he had said something about that earlier on. He said that you could, if you're curious about which drone will function in the future, you can Google what your GPS is and then is it capable of, and then go to gps.gov for a protocol list that will be active for the U.S. users. So, thank you very much for all your input tonight, Dan. Greatly appreciate it, brother.
I think GLONASS is isn't that the Russian one?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. The GLONASS, wasn't that the Russian? And then we have the U.S. has its own protocol for our GPS, right? I had thought.
Yeah, there's different ones. Drone Worship's busting my chops a little bit. I'm going to start calling you Daniel, Dan. I know that really gets under your skin. So, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not. I'll never make that mistake again.
Yeah, Dan was out traveling. I think he's been out to Colorado, spending some time. I've seen that on his channel.
Oh, nice. That's right.
And man, he looks like a new man. Like, I don't even hardly recognize him. So kudos for you.
And I'll tell you, his FPV skills are up there too. I've watched a few of his FPV FPV videos.
Yeah. And
Well,
Earl RC, man, I'm proud of you, brother. I know you might not be in the stream tonight, but if you watch this back, Earl RC, I am very proud of you, man. Keep it up, and we're all rooting for you, buddy. We're all rooting for you to hit the gym and get serious about your health, and man, just do it, brother. Just keep on it. It's a tough road, but not one that you can't conquer. So
I know a lot of people have said, that doing flying drones, whether it's camera drones or FPV, has been like a really positive influence in their life. And then being in the community, right? Being able to talk to everybody and get to know folks. And then again, I really encourage everyone, whether it's a local meetup like Eric does up there, or if it's something that you can, whether it's something you can do with, spin up or other events like that. I just love meeting all these folks. It's awesome. And then seeing people help each other out with GoFundMe's and, super chats. And I mean, it's a great group.
the drone community is like no other. I feel like if I got into this hobby and I was still solo, because that's how most of us start out, right? I mean, if you're fortunate enough to start out with a group of people, that's awesome. But myself and a lot of others started out completely solo, just flying on our own. And while that is fun and it is cool, it just when you get together with other groups of people that are into the same things, other friends, it just takes the hobby to a whole entirely new level. I feel like you progress faster. I feel like if you surround yourself with individuals, whether it be virtually or in person, who are knowledgeable about the hobbies that you're getting into, it's a win-win. You get to make good friends, you get to hang out, you get to learn things as you get to progress faster.
Yeah. And Dan's saying there's a few bad apples that you can see through. And that's true. I mean, of course. And then there's going to be people you just don't get along with. Right. But ultimately, I think we all have a common goal of making sure that this hobby grows in a way that's sustainable, right? It grows in a way that it isn't too fast. I mean, I will say that is one thing about FPV is if you get into doing it, you really have to be conscious about what you're doing because you don't have the control over those drones. I say you have control over them, but you don't have that ability to just stop midair like you do with a camera drone. You could really, end up on the Saturday evening news by crashing into somebody with an FPV drone if you don't know what you're doing. So that's why I think helping each other out to learn the right way to do it is good.
Yes, and getting together with other people is always a plus because you got more eyes, right? You have more eyes around who can kind of like today, for example. My buddy was flying; he's having a good time. I'm communicating to him, hey, there's a person walking up with a dog, or
Yeah,
hey,
yeah. Oh,
there's
man,
some
that is so
people that
helpful.
may be coming into where you're flying, so you need to be aware of them. And just being able to have that communication with one another, I feel like just makes it even safer, right?
Man, I had a fun experience a few weeks ago with actually with Lone Star UAV, and I don't know if you've ever seen Sunrise Water Media.
Yes.
He's a good guy. His name's Chris. Anyway, we were out flying, and we had on some. I was sent some communication, like comm system, wireless comm system, and we
I
were
saw
all,
that. I was
man.
actually wanting to talk to you about that.
That was, I have to say, it's a little bit of a hassle to charge it all up and get it out there. But we were all sitting in different parts. We weren't real far apart, but we were all in, like, I was kind of behind my car, and Chris was sitting actually in the hatchback of his car, and Kai was over near his truck. So we're a little ways off from each other, and we're just talking in a normal tone, like totally communicating. And exactly what you just said, someone was walking down the road, and I was able to say, "Hey, Kai, I see you coming over. Look out for that lady with her dog." And he flew off the other direction. So it's really that having other people with you. That's kind of become my hashtag for the last 6 months or so, is don't fly alone. And what I mean by that is exactly what we're talking about: is having people there to help you be more safe, but then also just to have real experiences with real people, not just people online.
Yeah, and a buddy of ours in the community, he was flying FPV. He was at a school. There was no people there, thank goodness. But he had a slight little miscalculation in one of his little tricks that he was doing, and he ended up going through a window.
Oh, geez.
That window cost well over $1,000. He did the right thing by contacting the school and letting them know, hey man, I was
Wow.
flying my FPV drone. I I accidentally, busted through the window by complete accident. I'm ready and willing to pay for the window. He could have easily just left and no one would have ever known, right? But he
Well,
did the right thing, and I was
his
proud of him for
drone was
doing
in
that.
the school, right? Or was it?
What's that?
Was his drone in the school? Was it inside?
I can't remember if it bounced off of it and it broke it that way, or I think it just bounced off. And when it bounced off, it cracked the glass.
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
don't think it went inside. I don't think.
I mean, schools are, and I'm just kind of playing with you, but that is totally the right thing to do. I mean, schools are also so underfunded. For them to have to
Yeah.
come up with that $1,000 might mean they can't do something else for the kids. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's really the key to it, is have accountability. And getting back to the remote ID and having accountability. I don't mind that accountability for people who are flying. Like if I break a window, I'm going to own it, and I don't mind if there's a way for people to know it was me. If there's a flight log or something that says, "Hey, this asshole."
Okay. Well, I can't argue about anything that's going to make our hobby safer. And if having remote ID is going to make it safer for manned aircraft, I am all for it, guys. I have to look at this as the whole picture. I have to look at this not just as a drone enthusiast, but if I see manned aircraft and there's a way to make that flight even safer for people who are in the air, if that means I have to take a $50 broadcaster, or hopefully it will even be cheaper than that by the time the technology is created, and put it on my FPV drone. I really don't think that's going to be the end of the world, to be
Well,
honest.
and also, have you played with? Are you familiar with AirSense?
Yep.
I mean,
AirSense, AirMap. Yep.
it actually, well, AirSense is a technology. It's like a transponder technology built into.
Oh, and the Mavic Air 2.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's actually I've been really impressed, because it'll pop up on your screen. It'll tell you there's a plane somewhere nearby, and it may be way, a little tiny Cessna way over there, but it's still, you have that situational awareness. Dan was asking about the graphene batteries, which I don't know much about. I've been looking at a little bit of YouTube for new battery technology, but I'm not familiar with. I can't say that I know much about the graphene technology. But man, batteries have come so far, and the ability to fly something without. When I started, Eric, my dad and I used to fly RC planes that were, they had a glow plug, and they had a little fuel tank, and they had a little little thing that went into the fuel tank that took, I forget what it was called, a little hose that would. I mean, it was all hobby model cylinders, right?
Yep.
Glow plugs and all that stuff. And it's so much easier with batteries. Now, batteries are still dangerous, and there's still lots of issues with them. But yeah, I feel like our hobby is helping to push the battery technology in the right direction.
So, ironically enough, I actually started out in the RC hobby with nitro 1/10 scale monster trucks and cars. And I did the whole nitro thing with the glow plugs, and I would do the jumps and the flips. And now I actually have a brushless Arma Granite 3S RC truck 1/10 scale, and that thing is a basher, Kelly.
Oh yeah,
I raced it today. I lost, unfortunately, but I raced my buddy. He had a 6S in fraction. I kind of knew he was going to beat me, but I'm like, you know what? We're out here. We're puffing our chest. Let's go, man. Let's throw down. Let's race. Ended up breaking the actual wheel itself, broke off the hub. I accidentally ran into my friend's foot. He's okay, by the way. His foot, it didn't even get hurt.
Did you walk away and pretend like it wasn't you?
I bought him lunch. I said, hey, I lost fair and square. I'm going to buy you lunch. He ended up like messing his bumper up. But the power of the brushless on that truck is just insane. I don't even think anything nitro could even compare.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's such high torque, right, with the battery. So one other thing I was going to ask you about with regard to the RC cars. Oh gosh, what Have you done? Oh, well, this is a different question, but have you done any chasing of the RC cars? As a matter of fact,
Uh-huh.
you should get your buddy who owns the racetrack to let someone race the car
Yeah.
around it and then chase it with the drone. That would be pretty awesome.
Yep. We have done that before. And we're definitely going to do that again now that he has this infraction, because it's actually I believe it's a I want to say it's a 1/8 scale, or maybe even the next size up from that. So it's bigger than the 10th
Wow.
scale that I've been, ripping around. And the thing, it uses a 6S, and it's supposed to go, I think, like 75 or even close to 100 out of the box or something like that. Maybe it's 80. I think it's like 80 miles an hour.
Car that runs a 6S. Wow. So you crashed your car and your drone today.
Yeah, I'll show you my drone. It's pretty sad, actually.
Cue the sad music.
This guy took one heck of a beating today, Kelly. It what's funny is this frame is actually a buddy of mine, Chuck at FPV, and we chased Ron's infraction. But if you see there, that's not the camera looking slanted. That's the actual frame.
Yeah,
I completely broke the bottom plate.
Oh.
So now that, keep in mind, this is an older frame, and it's a hand-me-down from my buddy. But I finished it off today with a hard crash.
Yeah.
But that's why I bring 3 or 4 quads out. So one goes down, I just grab another.
Will you pull the components off of that and put them on something else?
Yeah, all the components are the same on all my builds.
Yeah.
So I can swap out. Every single component will swap in and out of all these drones here.
So do you use the ESCs that are built in, not external ESCs, but the
4-in-1?
Yeah, the 4-in-1s. Is that what you use?
I'll tell you, I was one of the ones on the fence about 4-in-1s for the longest time. It took a lot to push me to go to 4-in-1s, because I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. If I have the individual and ESC goes up, I only have to change one. But if I have the 4-in-1 and the ESC goes up, I got to change the whole thing, right?
Right.
If you get a high quality 4-in-1 ESC, that's another thing that you don't want to skimp out on when it comes to FPV parts. Get a nice high quality ESC. The 4-in-1s are very durable, and I've yet to burn out an ESC yet.
Well, and they're also more protected, right? Because they're not
on
the arms usually.
They're inside the frame. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow. Somebody, Jay Moyer said it'll buff it out. I don't think I'm going to be able to buff this out, and it would not arm after I tried to arm it just to see if it would arm, and the flight controller gave me like a beep 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 beep. So I go, okay, I got an error. Something's wrong. Maybe the gyro. We'll find out, but that's all part of it, man. Fly, crash, repair, repeat, right?
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, it's smart to have commonality between your builds so that you have all the same kind of, this motor could go to this one here, etc.
Exactly. So yeah, not only do you get the consistency of, okay, let me jump right back in the pilot seat, and this feels exactly like where I left off. But now you have the versatility of, oh man, I got a motor out on this one. Oh, but this one has a VTX out, and you can swap whatever you need to get yourself back up in the air quickly and easy.
Joseph Ford said, "I thought the rule of FPV is if you can't retrieve the drone, it's dead to you."
If you can't retrieve the drone, it's dead.
Yeah, I've fetched some drones out of some fields and ponds and lots of places where they've gone down, and it's amazing like how much of it is still usable, even if it's been submerged in water. There's still parts on there that you could reuse.
Hey, good night, Dan. Thanks for coming in, and thanks for all your input on the stream tonight, brother. Greatly appreciate that. You're back in Tampa, I guess, so enjoy that nice 80-degree weather. Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I think Austin's supposed to be in the 60s next week, so I'm pretty psyched.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Well, man, this has been a blast. I see my son over there with those wings, and if I don't go over there soon, there's not going to be any left. So I'm going to sign off and go eat some wings.
Kelly, I'm so glad you came on the stream tonight. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Greatly appreciate it. Hopefully, if you're ever around the East Coast area, please hit me up send me an email, and I would love to link up with you and do some flying with you
Yeah,
if you're ever over this way.
how far are you from upstate New York?
I'm probably about a good 3-ish hours, not too far actually from upstate New
My,
York. I could
my,
definitely do it like a weekend trip thing.
my in-laws have a house in upstate New York, and we usually go there in the summer.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
let me know when you're going to be down that way, and we'll try to definitely set something up. I'd love to meet up with you and fly and get to
Yeah,
meet you in
or
person.
I mean, I could come down and meet up with your group too. So
Oh yeah, the more the merrier. We'd love to have you.
that'd be awesome. All right.
We'll try to find some cool bando for you.
I appreciate. Yes, I've only done. Actually, that's the only place I've ever flown a bando was, and it was pretty bizarre. And my flying at the time was not that great. It was right when I was just doing the 10 packs a day, but it was a abandoned putt-putt golf course. Look for that one on my channel if you get a chance. But it was very, very creepy. I mean, putt-putt golf courses are already kind of weird, and then when they're abandoned, you still have all the characters. Ugh.
That would be really cool, actually. That's definitely got my interest. That's on your channel now?
Yeah.
Cool, man. I will definitely check that out.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for having me on. I appreciate you reaching out, and we'll stay in touch.
Absolutely, man. I'll definitely be coming to check out your streams and hanging out over there as well.
I appreciate that.
Enjoy those wings, man.
I am. I know. My mouth's kind of watering. We kind of rode through lunch today, so I've been like ready, but I never can eat right before a live stream because I feel like I'll have something in my teeth or whatever,
I hear you. Well, thank you so much, Kelly, for coming on. Greatly appreciate it. Link in the description. Make sure you guys check him out. See you, Kelly. All right, guys. Wow. Awesome to have Kelly from Ready Set Drone on the stream. Man, the myth, the legend. It was a great time. I felt like we could just like talk all night. Like it was going so well. So thank all you guys for hanging out, and if you have any questions, feel free to email Kelly or myself. We're glad to help you out. And just thank you everybody for all your support, all your inputs tonight. Greatly appreciate it. Dan, love you, brother. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for your support, everybody. And make sure you stay tuned to next week on Send It Saturday. We have yet another special guest going to be on the stream next Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You are not going to want to miss it. I know you guys are definitely going to want to come and hang out and see what's going on over here. Keep an eye out on my community tab as well. That's where you'll find out the information about my live streams and what's coming up on the weeks ahead. Thanks. I greatly appreciate that, Michael Blade and Joseph Ford. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching. E-Drone out.
I try to do like a little bit of cinematic flying, like see the fountain and all that, dude. It's dope.
Hey, I was right on you, bro.
Dope.
Yeah, but did